You know that sound, and you know that sound well. That means we got a dog here. Yes, this one was a dog. It was a tough one. It was intermittent. That's the problem. It had to heat up. Once it got hot, bad things happened, and it took a while to find the part that was causing it. Let's check it out. So I got a little PV instrument amplifier. So that's the KB2, and the inputs are noisy. So we're going to pop this one apart before I even plug it in. We're going to pop it apart, clean the controls up and so forth, and see if we can clean it up. Apparently he says the inputs are noisy. Channel 3 I think he said was the worst. But we're going to pop this one apart first. A couple screws here hold the chassis in place. And I can work on the amp away from the speaker and get the big box out of the way. Ah, look at that. It's leaving a mess on my bench already. Okay, let's get the amp out of the case. He already cleaned the input jacks on the back. He said it's not that. Basically 4 screws and the amplifier itself will lift out. And I can now unplug the speaker. So I can just plug anything in here. I've just got my MP3 player. Channel 1. Wow, that control's noisy as anything. Doesn't sound very good, does it? This is the biamp unit, so it's got one for treble and one to get the bass and mid-range. So just switch the speakers to the other amplifier, or the speaker. This is a biamp. It's got separate outputs for the tweeters. That's the tweeter output. And this is the woofer output. Those tone controls don't seem to be having much effect on channel 3. We have to clean these ones for starters. And the input controls too, they're all dirty, or at least number 2 is. The tone control doesn't seem to be doing much. That control's dirty for sure. Right now I'm only connected to the bass amplifier. I don't have the treble amplifier connected at all. That's why the treble control's not doing much on this channel. That control's bad. So channel 2 is the control is bad. And channel 3, it doesn't seem like the tone controls are doing anything. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull the tone board out on here, and that's this board here, and we'll give the controls a clean. See if that'll improve it. I think I just got to pull the knobs off, and there should be probably some underneath here. There'll be some. I hear Chuck playing in the background. Maybe some nuts that hold this on, hold the board in, and then the board should lift out. And we can clean the controls. got all the knobs off now, and I've noticed that there's lots of rust on here. This thing's been damp for sure, so we'll crack loose all of these and remove them. And then the board should lift right out, and then get in there with some cleaner and get the controls cleaned up and see if that'll fix the controls that aren't working properly. Also need to take off the jacks from the back, as this board needs to come out too. Fair warning, you better grab a coffee or a beverage or something. This is going to be a relatively long video because this one here had a bunch of different things wrong with it. There's at least 3 different faults that I have to deal with on here, and 2 of them were intermittents. The controls, that's the easy part. It gets much more difficult once I get into it. Not much in these amplifiers these days. Couple of ICs, and that's about it. What's this one got? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ICs and an output. I've got 2 sets of outputs here. And that's because it's a biamp. One for the woofer, one for the tweeter. Okay, should we lift this one up now? And there we go. There's all the controls that we need to get clean. Oh, there's more ICs here for the tone control and stuff. We're just going to get some Neutral and spray it into all the controls and give them a good cleaning, and then we'll test it out again and see if it's improved anything, which it should, because I think the problem on this is just the controls themselves are just been sitting around a long time. With all that rust around here, I'm sure there's been moisture that's gotten into this, and that's likely why they're not working as they should. At least we can get into these controls. They're all open, so we can get cleaner into them all and clean them. I probably shouldn't have disturbed that connector. Just saying. I created headaches for myself, I'm sure. Maybe not. Maybe it was already bad. Okay, we'll plug it back in and test it again and see if it sounds any better. I'll just attach a few of these just to hold it in place for testing. Okay, got it ready to go. Let's try it now. Input 1. Input 2 works. Yep. I would say it works. Okay, I'm going to throw it together, put the rest of the controls on, throw it together, and we'll hook it back up to its own internal speaker and see how it sounds. But yeah, I think it just needed a good cleaning of the controls, and it had to come apart to do it. I mean, the fellow that owns it, he said he sprayed cleaner in, but the problem is you got to take it apart. You got to take the controls out, or take the board out to actually get cleaner, and you got to use good cleaner. Like, I'm using this, and I'm getting low on it. When I run out of this stuff, I'm not going to be able to get any more. This is the old Neutral from the 1980s. That they haven't made this, well, since the 1980s, because it has chemicals in it that I'm sure they're known to the state of California to cause cancer, because everything is known to the state of California to cause cancer, but it has chemicals known to everyone to eat the ozone. The controls all back on. I do have good news for my American customers that want to send me stuff. I found a way to return your products to you where you will have to pay the duties on your end. I don't have to collect it in advance. I'll be sending stuff back by UPS. It'll still come to me by post because that's the way to get it in here for free, but it's going to go back by UPS, and you guys will deal with your American taxes when it arrives on your soil. As long as I don't have to deal with any red tape, it's business as usual. That is, once our post office gets back to work, because they're currently still on strike. The speaker is keyed, so it only goes in one way. Okay, let's see how it sounds. I came up with this song. It's all I need. With every chord I strum. Sounds fantastic. My heart's been taking me higher. I'm climbing that hill. Input 2. I'll sing it loud. A country rock anthem for the wandering crowd. And input 3. Sitting by fire with old friends around, a joint in the air, the best vibes we've found. The stories we're sharing, the dreams we let fly. Every pulse of memory is the reason why. Got a banjo playing softly with a whiskey in hand, feeling that. Yeah, that's got a lot of power. And the world fades away in that smoky embrace. Lost in the music, yeah, we found our place. After consuming that taste, I'm only at like 2 and it's already blowing me out of the shop. I came up with this song, yes, it's all I need. With every chord I strum, I let my heart spin, taking me higher. I'm climbing that hill, underneath the moonlight. I'll sing it loud, a country rock anthem. Gotta set them at the 0 here. These are all detented ones. This is coming off a radio, off a little cheap transmitter, right? You can hear the pilot tone. Watch, I'll turn it to mono. This tuner doesn't have an MPX filter built in. I rode into town with my boots on tight, chasing dreams, but they slipped out of sight. At this point, I'm thinking, hey, I got this fixed. Little did I know that once it warms up, well, there's going to be a problem, and you're going to hear it in a minute. But now I'm feeling old. Okay, I think we got a problem still. The bass just cut out on all the input. Yeah, okay, one of the amps just cut out. This is a bi-amp, right? And the bass just cut out on it. I was just listening to it, and all of a sudden, the bass cut out. So we got to pull it apart again, see what's going on with the amplifier, because, well, the controls were certainly dirty. We know that because the treble controls, the bass and treble weren't working here, but there's a problem with the amp as well. All the bass just disappeared. I don't hear anything hooked up to my speaker. Well, now it came on. Well, that's bizarre. I gotta check this out here. Oh, look, it's gone out again. So this is the bi-amp. There'll be one amplifier here for the treble. Oops, my lead fell off here. So we got one amp for the treble. And this is the bass amp. And it ain't working properly. That's going to be this one here, I think. That's this one. Oh, the amplifier's working. Of course, now it starts working. Intermittence, gotta love them. Now it's working, so we must have a connection on here. And cut out. I put my finger in there. The amplifier is working, you can hear that. So it's not the amplifier. We must have a connection somewhere between this board and this one. We're gonna have to use a scope on this one, I think. It was working fine, and then all of a sudden it just cut out. If I turn the plug around, I can hear just the main amplifier here. Right, take off the tweeter. It's right here. I bet you it's right at this damn plug. Oops, I think I broke it. See, it's now cut out. Amplifier's working. Or something on this board. First things first, we know this is an op amp, so we're going to need positive and negative voltages getting up to the preamp board, or we're not going to get anything. I got the volume, I think I got it turned down now. Yeah, I got everything turned down to minimum. So I don't expect any sound. We'll just check for voltages here. Positive 14. 0, 0, negative 15. Okay, they're there. Okay, so I got voltages there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the scope out, and we're going to look and see whether I've got signal coming from this board onto the main amp. That way we'll determine whether the problem's on this board or on the main amp. If I have audio coming out of the mixer going on to the main board, then we know the problem's on the main board, and we're just going to have to trace and see where we're losing the signal. We know that the amplifier works because if I put my finger down here and touch it, we'll hear the hum. So we know the amplifier works, and we know that the treble side works. So there's two separate paths. There's one path for bass and one path for treble. So we'll just give this thing a little bit of volume so that we can see a signal. I'm on channel 1, so we'll just give it a bit of volume there. And we'll hook up the scope and just start looking for signals that we are losing. I'm just looking on the scope now. I'll tell you if I see anything. Okay, I got audio there. And that was power. And that one would be power. Now, two of these might be ground. I think I should probably have audio on both of these ones here. That's what I think I should have. And I got power on one. I'm just tracing the signal through here. It goes to an op amp up here. I'm following the signals from here through the board, and this looks to be an op amp right there. And I got signals here. I got signals going in. See it on the scope. -14 minus 15. So we got both of those voltages there. 14 volts is there. Negative 15 there. Okay, we take it apart, and now it comes back on. We gotta have a connection here or something that's acting up. See now, which one is it? This one. Which control am I on? Now it's all the way down to minimum, and I've got sound. How about input 4? Very weak. Input 2. We got a ground or something that's not. I'm looking at this board closely, and I don't think these connections here, these don't look to be too good. Look, they're moving. I think this is where our problem might be here. I'm going to redo all these connections, and we'll see whether that fixes it. Because, I mean, well, it's obvious. You can see it on camera. See? Those are all bad. All those. So let's just heat up the good old soldering iron, and we'll redo those ones. And probably these ones over here too, going back to the main board, because let's see if how these ones look. Yeah, I think I'll redo those ones, the plugs, and I'm going to look at the others and see if I see any other ones that look to be possibly bad. I think it's a connection because it worked and then it stopped, right? Possibly the other ones on the main board as well. We'll check the other end of that plug as well and just redo these connections and see what happens. I'm also going to look at the connections on this plug here, where it goes into the main board. So we'll just pull out a couple screws, and should be able to lift this board out. I think there's probably a couple on the heat sink on the other side I got to lift out as well. Well, these are the inputs here from the other board. We'll redo those. I think I'll also redo the speaker terminals because they seem to be looking a little bit flaky as well. These two here in particular. A bit questionable. So I've gone over the board, redid the amplifier, the speaker terminals, input, and basically gave the board a once over. I don't see anything else that's obvious on it, so I'm going to pop this board back in place. Alright, let's try this thing out. I know that these grounds are, it has to be grounded through here. So well, the amplifier's working now. So let me throw it back together. And yeah, the grounds go through these to the chassis, so if they're not grounded to the chassis, yeah, the things don't work properly. Another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my Dremel and I'm going to clean off, because this is where the grounds take place, right? So a lot of rust here, and rust, of course, does not pass the ground. So I'm just going to take my Dremel and just kind of buff this up a bit. I just found where my problem is, right here. It's this plug. There's where our fault is. Our fault is in this goddamn plug. This plug is bad. Yep. I already soldered it on this side, so it's got to be the pins. It's got to be on the pins side here. I wonder if we can see which one. I bet you one of my voltages for the op amps is changing. Had a feeling in my gut and a weight in my mind. Tasted that flavor, took me back in time. This is a different symptom. It's now just going all distorted. So this is another problem, likely created when I undid the plug, the pins themselves. I've got a problem. I believe we're losing our ground here. This pin here. That pin there is, well, you saw the voltage drop, or jump. The voltage jumped when it cut in and out. So I'm just going to, it's probably right here. It's more than likely right down in here at the plug itself. That's where it is. It's right there on that pin. If that doesn't fix it, I'm going to cut the stupid wire off and stick it right on. I should probably do that anyway. But we'll give this a try. Oh. That's supposed to be grounded. I bet you if I put a ground on there, it'll work. I'll just ground that stupid wire out.
Adventure awaits.
Got our ground wire on here.
Just find hitting the highway.
Well, just ground that out. That'll fix that problem. I already grounded out I put a ground wire in here for the jacks at the back to make sure that they are maintaining a good ground. We're just going to put a ground wire right onto there. It's obviously inside the plug here, but it's bad. This might be a mic input, that's why. It says mic line. And the other ones are instrument line. So this might be why, because I'm feeding it a line level signal, not a mic level. That's probably why it's so loud.
But these whiskey-laden nights just turn love around. She worked hard for the...
I do have a mic level I can put into that. I think it's this one. Let's see, if I put this on. The one I use for the camera. This is a really low level, this one. Let's see here, what do I do here? This is a really low level. There we go.
Well, I wandered the streets with my head hanging low. Thought about the nights.
It's a stereo plug, or mono plug. This is a stereo plug, so I gotta pull it halfway out because otherwise it shorts it. That's better. So that's a mic level input there on channel 3.
I knew I had to make a stand and break free, but now those sweet memories are home.
Out of phase.
I can feel her love.
Out of phase, look at it.
Lingers around.
You phase it out because one's out of phase with the other.
Just brings me down.
Yeah, that's out of phase. This is 180 degrees out of phase from that one. It's just the way that the amplifier works. But
now the moon hangs high like a judge in the sky, reflecting my shame.
okay, I think I can put this together and we'll test it extensively in its own cabinet because I want to make sure that it's not going to act up before it goes out. But I'll put this together and we'll pick this up once I get it back together.
Thunder roaring as I hit.
Oops.
Send me what they can't comprehend. With my road rocket, I'm not here to blend. Mountains rise high under skies so blue. Accelerate hard, time to break through. Twist the throttle.
I'm gonna put that on this one for testing.
Shadows of giants, I'm ready to fly.
Plug it all the way in or it'll cut out. It's a stereo plug or a mono plug.
That dream. Tires gripping round curves like a beast in its own. Each twist and each turn, I'm calling it home. The roar of the engine, a symphony loud. With the sun setting fire, I'm lost in the crowd. Adrenaline pumping like a shot of pure. I'm a rebel in motion, forged from the line. Every mile of memory, every ride of tale. On this road rocket journey, I'm destined to sail.
Okay, I think we're done. I'm gonna let this thing run, but I think we're good. Of course, I thought that the first time and then it cut out, but now I was able to go in there and actually see the problem. We had a couple problems with this one. We had, first of all, the controls were not functional at all. These bass treble controls, bass, mid, raise, and treble, did nothing. The controls were dirty. We cleaned the controls. I thought I had it. And then it cut out. And then I go back in and troubleshoot some more and find one ground connection. Well, we saw the connections on a lot of the plugs were bad. I resoldered a bunch of them that were obviously bad because you could move the connector and they were cracked. Soldered all those up, but that plug itself between the pins, between that last pin from the right, and it was a ground. And when I wiggled it, it went from 0 up to 15 volts when it went bad. And when it went bad, the op amps shut down and everything went all distorted because, of course, your op amps require a positive voltage, a negative voltage, and a ground reference. You lose that ground and all hell breaks loose, which is what happened. So I had the unit running all night, figured I for sure had it. And all of a sudden the bass cuts out. So I popped the board out while it's running because it's been sitting, I had it closed up, right? So it was getting warm. Now it's starting to cool down a bit. Yeah, it's got a thermal problem.
I'll take one last ride in the garage of dreams where I always confide. No matter the struggle, no matter
oh, something in here. Oh. Capacitor, maybe? That little blue cap? Is that the problem? Look at this. Holy crap. Let's put some heat on it. Well, it's cut out now, but... Yep. I bet that cap's either got moisture damage or... That cap right there, I'm going to have to pull the board out again. This is why we test. When we get intermittence, we test and test and test.
Feel that groove, let it unwind. In a world so fast-paced, take your time. Underneath the neon lights we sway.
It's that one. See? Nothing else. That cap's gone bad. Yep. Okay, well, we gotta change that cap.
In the haze of the smoke, we dance to the tune.
Well, it's not going to happen tonight. I'll do it tomorrow after work.
Just a little splash of life's
That cap's got an internal connection that's bad, and when it heats up,
oh baby, don't be shy. In this smoky paradise, we'll touch the sky.
okay, well, I don't need to run it anymore. I know where the fault is. We'll deal with that tomorrow after work. I'll deal with that one. And yeah, this thing ran for hours, and then I just figured I would leave it run for the evening. And I popped my head back into the shop, and it's like, oh, where's the base gone? So I unbolted it and opened it up. I noticed that the board's got moisture on it, so obviously there's moisture in the cabinet. The heat's bringing it up. But yeah, that cap's bad. So we'll change that tomorrow, and then we'll test run it some more. And that's probably why this has gone bad too, the connection, because that was cutting in and out when I moved it. That was cutting in and out. But that's bad. Alright, it's now the next day. It's cold. It should work. Now, is it going to cut out when I heat it up? Yep. That cap's gone thermal. I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before on one of these, but it is gone thermal. Let's change it. I hope I got one. I'm sure I can find one that's the same size. Let's change it out. The bad one is this. It's a .22. It's got the number 224 on it. I don't have one that size, but I do have, well, I have the same size. It's just a little higher voltage. I think we're okay. You know, I have all these little ones for servicing tube equipment. This is a little 50 volter. I think a 630 volt well, that's kind of overkill, but it will get the job done. It'll get the job done. It'll just be, we got lots of room to mount it. So it's going to pull that circuit board once again. I'm getting good at this. I'm not going to unplug anything because I don't want to damage any of these stupid plugs. Every time you undo these plugs, especially this thing, because it's had moisture in it. I mean, it's evident because you can see it on the board. Like when it's dry. Well, I guess it's still there, but it looks like it's had moisture, and maybe it's been sitting in a damp environment. Hence all the rust. And this is what happens sometimes when you got these intermittent problems, right? People say, well, how come it takes so long to troubleshoot some of this stuff? Well, this thing ran for hours and hours and hours until enough heat built up. Of course, it never acted up when it was sitting apart being tested. It didn't act up until I put it back together, and that's because heat had to build up. But once it did act up, that's when cold spray would come in handy. You know, the freeze spray, which I don't have any because I just haven't bothered to go and buy any since the last time I ran out. Although you can use standard duster and just invert the can upside down, which is normally what we all do. We just buy the duster, turn the can upside down. See, the only difference between the frost spray or the freeze spray and a can of duster, it's the same propellant that's in it, but what the difference is the can of frost spray has a tube that goes down to the bottom like a regular aerosol, so it draws up liquid, and the duster has the tube at the top so that it expels the gas. So you turn it upside down and you get the liquid, and of course then you get the frost. Undo that so that I have some clearance, and I should be able to flip this board over and replace C17, which is the one that's giving us trouble. That one right there. So there's the old one. You get the new one in. Bring the leads in kind of like that so that it will fit in through the board. Those other wires, like that orange wire, for example, that's just to make sure the speaker connections are good, because plugging and unplugging that speaker tends to make the connections bad on the board. because of the stiffness of the connector. So I hardwired it to make sure it's not going to give me any trouble. You know what? This moisture might not be water. The guy that owned it sprayed contact cleaner into the controls. And I wonder if he got overspray. He thought the input jacks were the problem, and he'd been spraying contact cleaner in. I wonder if this is. I thought it was moisture, but it might be residue from his contact cleaner. That's what that might be. That's on there. Now that I look at it a little closer. One thing for sure is we can put the heat on it once I get it going, because we saw how quick it cut out when it was cold and I hit it with the heat gun. We saw how quick it cut out, so if it doesn't cut out when I throw the heat on there, then I think it's pretty safe to say it's not going to cut out. Here goes.
Cross blues, my restless heart's released.
Yeah. We saw how quick it went before. Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's nice and warm.
The sun breaks the sky. Chasing the horizon. I know.
Alright, I'm going to I can take these grounds that I put in out, because when it's mounted in the chassis and everything's tightened down, of course the input connectors are now grounded, so I don't need to ground them to the board itself. So now we can test all the inputs. So input 4.
Life's sweet nectar.
And we'll test input 3.
Don't be shy in this smoky paradise. We'll touch the
Going the wrong way.
shades and the lights dim.
Input 2.
Let's let our spirits flow.
Input 3.
Nobody sees.
And input 4. It's over here. Everything seems to be working. Okay, let's throw it together and let it test run.
I hit the road with the sun setting low, chasing old memories.
We're going to take this is a line level. We're going to have to put it on the mic level.
Weight in my mind, back in time. Like a sweet kiss of smoke on a summer's night, it lingered on my tongue, everything felt right.
I've had it running now for all evening. It's like past midnight now, and I'm heading to bed. I'm just going to leave it high at a low level like this. I've had it cranked up for a while. It's like working perfect. One little cap. Whew, this was a tough one. When you get thermal intermittence or intermittence in general, yeah, they generally can be a bit more work. But man, oh man, they're sure satisfying once you've got the problem solved. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.